Hey animation and video friends! Did you know with this new device, motion control for stop motion and live action with Dragonframe has become so easy? So what is this new device? Ben here from Moco Toolbox, and today I'm going to introduce the new DMC-Lite powered controller for Dragonframe. If you like to use motion control in your tabletop production and you're using Dragonframe, whether it's a stop motion or live action, you need an interface device between your computer and the motors that you're using for a camera slider or any custom motion control for the objects on the set to be able to run the moves that you've programmed in Dragonframe. This new device is a controller that lets you connect it from one side to your computer and from the other side to a camera slider or any custom motion control rig like a motorized winder rig on your stop motion set that lets you run moves in real time for live action or as move shoot move for stop motion. So what is special about this controller? A lot of things. This one is a modular controller. This is compatible with the camera sliders and all the rigs that I offer, but also you can make your own DIY rigs and connect the mechanical parts that you've built with the motors inside to this controller. When you buy a camera slider, such a controller is integrated within that slider. When you connect a cable to the slider and the other side to Dragonframe, you are actually connecting Dragonframe to the controller that is integrated inside that slider. This kind of controllers are designed to work just for one purpose. For example, to run the slider that you're using. Usually you can't use those controllers for anything else, whether they are inside the slider body or they are as a standalone device. They are designed to work only with the device that you've purchased. But this is a modular powered controller that gives you the freedom to build any rig that you want and don't worry about the electronics. This gives you a world of versatility and flexibility with your stepper on the stepper motor side. The great thing about this controller is that you can easily adjust current and resolution for each of the individual 6 stepper motors. Most of the powered controllers out there are built for a specific type of stepper motors. So you cannot use a bigger or smaller motor that uses more or less current than what that controller is built for. But with this one, if you like to use this very standard Nema 17 stepper motors that a lot of people use for tabletop productions, or you want to go smaller using a Nema 11 stepper motor or a very tiny stepper motor like this, you can easily adjust the current and resolution to match these motors. And it's not done by a multimeter and a screwdriver or opening the enclosure to set small dip switches. It's all done with an OLED controller on the front panel. So it's very user-friendly. For being more exact, these bigger stepper motors can use up to 1.5 amps or 1500 milliamps. But small stepper motor like this can use only up to 800. If a controller is set for just one motor, whether this one or this one, you cannot switch between these two. But with this controller, for one project, you may want to use a bigger motor like this, so you set the amp on the max, which is 1.8 on this device, or 1800 milliamps, or as low as 150, so you can easily adjust it at 800 to use a Nema 11 stepper motor, which is a smaller, definitely less power, but you can use this inside any props that you built. Maybe you are building an airplane or a car on your set and you want some moving parts, and this easily fits inside. Or even going smaller and using one of these tiny geared stepper motors, so small that can fit into any props or any contraptions that you're making, and this can only bear less than 200 milliamps. Most of controllers cannot go as low as this unless it's a full DIY controller, but with this you can easily reduce the output current to the minimum, which is 165 milliamps, and drive one of these stepper motors very safely and do whatever creative motion control work you like on the set. On the resolution side, which means how smooth it drives the stepper motors, this device can go from 1 to real 256 microstepping. Real 256 is super smooth and super silent. A lot of controllers just use a simulation of 256, but this one really uses 256 microstepping. But you can lower it however you want. The lower the resolution, less smooth the movement, you get more speed from your stepper motor. So if you are working on a project that needs more speed, you can go as low as 8, 4, 16 and have your stepper motors run much faster. Or if you are working on something very precise, you want it to be very smooth and silent, you can go all the way up to 256 microstepping and get a very smooth movement out of your motors. One other thing is that not all the motors are compatible with all different microsteppings. For example, this tiny one can only run at 1 microstepping. You cannot go higher than that. So this device lets you lower the microstepping, so you can use a motor like this as well. This gives you a lot of flexibility and versatility for different projects. And the great thing is that each one of the 6 stepper motors can be adjusted individually and independent from one another. So you can use a Nema 23 motor in your project, a Nema 17, 2 of these smaller ones, and 2 of these Nema 11 ones for different purposes. You can use up to 6 motors, and each one could be different from one another. There is a USB-C connector on the device that is used to connect the interface to the Dragonframe. Then we have the power supply connector. It can be a power supply from 12 volts to 24 volts. Again, flexible for different projects, different sort of stepper motors that you're using. Now I'm using a 12 volts power supply. And we have 3 RJ45 ports, each one for 2 stepper motors. Each RJ45 or Ethernet connector has 8 pins. Each 4 set is used for 1 stepper motor. So overall, it gives you outputs for 6 stepper motors. Each one can range from 150 milliamps to 1800 milliamps or 1.8 amps. I provide this adapter with the device, and you can purchase more and more if you need, which lets you connect an RJ45 cable to the device and get individual connections for different motors. You may use these pin header connectors or use these screw terminals for any loose end wires of any stepper motor. After connecting the device to Dragonframe, and when you turn the device on, you will see the OLED shows the current and resolution of each individual motors. Also, you'll hear the 2 fans starting to cool down the device. It's not always necessary, but since I wanted this to be a very reliable piece of hardware for long shoots, I've put these 2 fans working all the time, so you can make sure even if you use the max current of all the 6 stepper motors, this device still is cool enough for long shoots. On the front panel, you have the lock and set switch. It's a tiny switch to prevent accidental changes. So if you set it to set, you can easily navigate through each stepper motor current and resolution, and using these 2 up and down buttons to decrease or increase the current according to what stepper motor you've connected to the device. And when you move the switch back to lock, all the stepper motors will be set with the new values, and they are ready to be used according to the new adjustments that you've made. This 6-channel powered DMC-Lite controller is a great addition to Moco Toolbox modular motion control products. My goal has always been to offer reliable products for the people who are creative and has this DIY mindset and wants to use their rigs and gears in different ways for different projects. This is a great addition to that list because it gives you a peace of mind that I don't need to be worried about the electronics part. I don't know of any other device that is as compatible and versatile as this small controller with a lot of capabilities. Now you can start thinking how you can incorporate different motors into the props that you make or onto the set for moving things on set and program all the movements in Dragonframe, and you don't worry about that anymore, and you mostly focus on animating the things that you want to manually animate. If you are doing product shots with using a bunch of motors, you can create like one-of-a-kind product movements, and all can be done with this controller and Dragonframe. You can find more information on mocotoolbox.com website, and please leave comments if you have questions, or I'd like to hear what you like to do with this device. I will make more videos of this device in action, how it operates, and maybe it inspires you with different ways you can use motion control in your production. And please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video to support Moco Toolbox and also learn more about motion control. Thank you for watching.